G'day Gooners and welcome to the post-match pod. There's a lot of happy faces in this conversation because we were victorious in our 4-1 win at home against Aston Villa. It was a massive game and we will jump into it. I'm joined with Cal, by Cal as always. Cal, how are you?
Fantastic. I mean, there's nothing really to complain about. 4-1 win. But I think we've got to introduce our guest because this is the first time we've had guests on. So, and what a podcast it is to have it on as well. 4-1 win. How are you guys? This is George. I'll let George introduce them.
Absolutely. I'm obviously, as Cal mentioned, this is the first time we've had guests on, and luckily enough, those two guests are my dad, Laurence/Lol. Lol, how are you?
I am doing very well. As Cal said, exceptionally happy after the magnificent win this morning.
Fantastic. And my older brother, Archie. Archie, welcome to G'Day Gooners. How are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, doing very well. I mean, what a day. What a day to be a guest of G'Day. Cheers to that.
Wine glass in hand as well. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. It's New Year's Eve. We've got 3 points in the bag and we're 5 points clear.
Yeah, guys, just for some context, sorry to cut you there. Obviously, you guys live in the UK. I know you've both been to Australia before, so you have watched football at ridiculous hours of the morning before. But you've done 2 games since coming this time. First game was a 2 a.m. kickoff. And this time wasn't so bad. We're in Queensland at the moment for New Year, so it was a 6:15 kickoff for us in the morning. How did you guys find the mornings, plural?
You guys are insane. You're insane, honestly. I don't know how you do it. Huge respect.
Huge respect. I mean, Bournemouth is, I think, 3:30 on the 4th.
God, yeah.
I'll do it. I will do it, but that's my last. Although it isn't. It's your last. I think I've got to do Liverpool. I don't know what time the Liverpool game is, but yeah, no, it's not easy. And I have huge respect for you guys and anyone else listening. I'm sure there are quite a few that wake up in the silly hours of the morning to watch our fantastic football team. Big respect.
Did you guys make it through the 2 a.m. game?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
But not only did we make it through, so I was watching it because I didn't have Stan or anything in my hotel room, so I had to leave Mel, who's obviously George's mum, in the hotel room at 2 a.m. I had to wake up and not wake her up, which never happens because she always wakes up. Even if I breathe, she wakes up. I then had to go to the lobby of the hotel. I had to call George, and from his phone, he lined his phone up with his own screen on his PC so that I could watch it on the PC. Wasn't the greatest quality, really wasn't, but hey,
we done it. We done it.
We did it.
Credit to you guys. I mean, it is definitely tough. I mean, George is probably definitely used to it by now. What has it been, about a year and a little bit? So definitely used to it. It is definitely super unique experience. But I mean, when you get a win like that, it definitely offsets it a little bit. Like, you just don't feel tired. We've talked about that on the podcast before. For some reason, we wake up at ridiculous hours of the night, and then if we get a good win, especially a huge win like this, you just have energy for some reason. It's strange, but
I'm sure you do. But you've both got day jobs, I assume.
Yeah,
I know George.
So ridiculous hours, and then you just have to stay up for work. Sometimes it is pretty rough, as we know. But yeah, just heading into the game, obviously huge win. But there was big news before the game that I didn't really expect. I put him in my lineup video yesterday, but Declan Rice was out, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts, because when I saw that, I got a little bit worried, to be honest, because I know Aston Villa can cause us problems, and without Rice, who's been one of our best players this season, I was definitely worried.
Yeah, 100%. I turned to Dad as soon as I found out, and I said, arguably our most influential player, especially in this type of game. Your box-to-box midfielder is key in such a physical battle. But obviously, it didn't impact the game in the end. But what I would say is, it's just super frustrating. It just seems like every big game this season, we're getting a key injury to one of our big players. And whilst we got through today quite convincingly, we need to try and find a way then of the injuries to kind of reduce, because I can't remember a team who goes on to win the big trophies at the end of the season that kind of has the amount of injuries that we have had. And credit to our squad, but it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible, to have Saka out for parts, to have Rice out for parts, Odegaard, and of
Gabriel.
course Gabby, is to be where we are is nothing short of remarkable. Hopefully, the second half of the season there will be less injuries. I think some of the injuries were possibly avoidable. I think he needs to rotate and be more trusting in some of the squad, because to me there is very little to choose between the main, what we would deem to be, so in a situation like Calafiore and Lewis Skelly, I don't think there's a tremendous amount between them. So he's got to trust in Lewis Skelly. If the numbers are saying that Calafiore needs a break, give him the break. Play Lewis Skelly, play Nketiah. I think I personally think that the injury to White, for instance, was very avoidable. I don't know why he played White. I know you guys talked about it at the time. I don't know why he played White in that game. It didn't make any sense. And the knock-on effect to that, today, I think Rice's injury probably was as a result of that injury.
Because Timber wasn't fit for the last game, so Rice had to play right back, and then obviously Rice has picked up. 100%. It's like a domino effect, and just to further missing Rice, it's not just what he brings you on ball or on pitch. I mean, obviously, what he can produce from set pieces on such consistent basis for us is massive, and especially having Gabby back is huge with Rice and his set pieces. But also just in terms of his leadership skills, I mean, he clearly gets a tune out of the rest of the players around him, and he gets a tune out of the crowd. You saw even when he was playing at right back, that big slide tackle that he made just got everyone around him, including all the fans, up for it. So massive miss for us. And just to further both your points, definitely the injuries that we've had this season and last season, but I think more so this season, we've been able to combat those injuries far better than we were last season, and also the season before that, with obviously, was it Tomiyasu and Saliba getting injured at the same time, and us not having the squad really to compete at the top level. But now you look at the amount of players we've got injured. I mean, we haven't really seen anything of Kai Havertz yet. Well, I know he was back in the squad this week, but he's missed pretty much the whole season. And he was he our top scorer or joint top scorer? Or I don't know, at the back of the 2023-2024 season. I mean, he started pretty much every single game up front, and we went, 18 games, 16 wins, 1 win, one draw. So he is a very, very key member of that striking force. He hasn't been fit for the whole season. So definitely our ability to combat those injuries has improved remarkably over the last year. And I guess credit to everyone involved in the injury in the medical team. But having said that, we are still picking up an obscene amount of injuries it seemed like the first, 10, 15 games of the season, we didn't have any attackers fit. And now it seems like the opposite's happened, and we don't have any defenders fit. So something needs to change, whether it is the rotation that you were saying, Dad, or just managing load, training sessions and all sorts. I know we have games every 3 days, so it does make it very difficult to do that. But they have to find a way, because as you correctly said, Arch, there hasn't really been a team in Premier League history who have gone on to win major honours without having key members of their squad fit for the most part of the season. Having said that, the lineup looked like this for kickoff. It was Raya in goal, Timber at right back. Beautiful to see Gabriel and Saliba both back together in the centre of our defence, with Nketiah at left back. Zubimendi was at 6 with Martin Odegaard and Mikel Merino either side of him. And our front three looked like Trossard, Gyökeres, and Bukayo Saka. How did you guys think that we started the game? I personally thought that, I don't know, for the first 10, 15 minutes, it was good in parts, but we also were leaving two big gaps in midfield, and someone like Onana for them was exploiting those gaps pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, that first half compared to the second half, it was a completely different game. And I think you mentioned it there. I think Onana, I think we were quite lucky that he went off injured, because as soon as he went off, it did open up the game. But I thought in the first, I thought we started better than previous weeks. Like, we looked more intensity. It did drop off though, which is a bit disappointing to see. But Aston Villa, they looked very organized, very compact. After that first half ended, I thought, oh, we're in for a difficult second half. It obviously didn't end up being that way. So I think it was better than previous weeks, but still not as good as how we should start going on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think that's right. First 5-10 minutes, I thought we probably first 5 minutes we looked pretty good. We looked like we were on the front foot, and then what I was really upset about was mainly Martinez was slowing the game down, and the referee was doing nothing about it. And that was obviously a game plan from Villa's point of view. Whenever we were building up any form of momentum in the first, as I say, 5-10 minutes, whenever they had a chance, they slowed it down. And I think that threw us a bit. And I thought they came into it really well. Onana was, as you say, sort of just waltzing his way through our midfield and breaking lines very easily. And I remember one ball, was it from who played that beautiful ball? The Norwich player, no. But
Buendia.
Thank you. Yeah, Buendia played a most unbelievable ball through. Was it to Watkins, who really should have gone on and had a good effort, but we defended very well. There was a couple of times where I was very, very worried, and then Watkins missed probably the most open chance of the first half, and I think from there, I don't think they really had another big chance until they scored.
100%. I mean, that came after 12 minutes, and we were trying to play it out. Gabriel had the ball. He tried to play the ball into Gyökeres' feet, and Konza sort of stepped in front of Gyökeres. I personally thought Gyökeres could have done a lot better to protect the ball in that situation. He didn't really look like he even wanted it. I know the pass was quite straight, and you're told as a young kid never to play a straight pass out from the back, so it should have probably been at an angle. But yeah, Konza did step in front of Gyökeres pretty easily there, played in Watkins, who actually didn't hit the target. So I'm pretty sure until till pretty late on the game, they actually didn't have a shot on target. No. And obviously Watkins should have buried that chance. Really should have buried that chance, and we sort of got let off pretty lightly at that stage. I know a few minutes later, 17 minutes on the clock, and Rodgers broke his way through and sort of played a ball to his left side to Watkins again, who sort of cut in and just, curled an effort slightly past the post. But I guess what I was noticing was those gaps in midfield did look a lot bigger than they usually would. And that probably has something to do with Deckers not being on the pitch.
Well, I just want to ask you about that, because obviously Rice wasn't in that game, and I'm sure those gaps were because of him. How did you think Merino played? Because I've seen some things that people thought should have been sent off. He was a bit clumsy in some challenges. I'm interested to see what you thought of his performance.
I mean, at the time of the challenge, or actually when he was eventually brought off, we kind of all looked to each other and said, he must be a very happy lad.
Yeah.
It was for me.
I think if you could lip read what he said to his teammates on the bench, it was probably something like, "How on earth did I not get sent off?" Because the one where he pulled, obviously he'd been booked at this stage, and he, I think it might have been Tielemans turned him, and he just literally grabbed hold of his arm, and that's a booking. It is a booking, and with that should have been a second yellow. I actually thought first half, obviously you're going to miss Declan Rice's legs, and Declan Rice covers so much ground, and Onana with his huge stride, was, loving the fact that there was no one that was going to match him. So from that point of view, we really miss Rice. I thought Mourinho was very neat and tidy. I thought he did pretty well. But he's not Declan Rice. He's a totally different player. I don't think Mourinho disappointed at all. He was a little clumsy, but he made challenges. That's what you do in midfield. And sometimes you're going to get away with them and sometimes you're not.
Yeah. For me, in the past, where we've seen Mikel Merino in that midfield, my biggest problem with him in that midfield in the past has been him losing the ball in dangerous areas, which we didn't see today.
No.
So I guess that's a positive. Kind of as you've all said, when you take Declan Rice out of the team, you're going to see a difference naturally. So yes, he should have been sent off, but I think overall wasn't necessarily a bad performance.
Yeah, I can't remember what the score was when he made that challenge. It was either 1 or 2. We definitely scored the first. It might have been we were 2 up.
Yeah.
But I think Mikel made the right decision in hauling him off when he did.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree. I think as well, in the context of the game, and I mean, obviously that happened in the second half, but at the end of the first half, we saw, I think after about 35 minutes, Trossard get the ball on the left-hand side and a beautifully weighted cross into the centre of the pit, into the centre of the box, and Gyökeres sort of got himself in front of the defender, and at that stage, your number 9 really has to hit that ball on target. And he had a header earlier on where he also didn't hit the target. What are your thoughts? I mean, myself and Cal have been very, I guess, complimentary in parts, but also critiquing him in other parts of Gyökeres. But what are your general thoughts of Gyökeres since he's joined? Do you prefer him to our other options, or do you think maybe a Jesus or a Havertz will play a more important part in the second half of the season? Over to you guys, I guess.
I think over the last week we could have written a dissertation on our thoughts on Gyökeres and how we see it playing out for the rest of the season. I think the key thing.
Sorry, the wine almost went at that point. Maybe. Sorry.
Sensible. The key thing for Gyökeres, I mean, specifically in this match, but I guess it's a wider thing for this season, is that we aren't necessarily playing to his strengths. And I think it's really difficult to judge a player who's adapting to probably the most difficult league in the world, on top of being in an elite team and having so many new kind of ways of playing to learn, to then really, as a team, not be able to adapt to his style. Yeah. Which I then find hard to necessarily judge him. However, looking at both those chances in isolation, for me, especially the first one, I think it was within the first 1 or 2 minutes, he has got to do better. He has got to get that on target. Not a hard header. Haaland in the same position, scores every time. And that's the level that we are comparing it to. So it's frustrating. In terms of, do you want to answer that question? Then we can go on to the rest of the...
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you've seen, let's take the last 2 games, the Brighton game where he had a fantastic chance in the first minute, and then 2 really good chances today. I thought the second chance, he did really, really well to get himself, that's a proper striker's instinct, got himself in front of the defender, great cross, I think, from Trossard, and really needs to put that on target. And I just think he's going through, he's learning the league, as Archie said. It's really difficult. The club, the team are trying to adapt to play to him, and he's trying to adapt at the same time to play to within the team ethos that Arteta's built. And I think at some point those two will meet.
Yeah.
I think they started off miles apart. He needs to be fed, and we're not feeding him really. Notwithstanding the fact that he has had 3 really good chances, which he should have taken at least one of them in the last couple of games. But I think at some point, I think we need to persist with him.
Yeah.
And but that doesn't mean that he might not sit out a game or two, because I think we need to do that as well. As we said before, there needs to be rotation for us to hopefully achieve what we want to achieve. But I think he needs to play the majority I think he needs to feel like he is the number 1 striker. And I do think, as I say, at some point we will learn more how to play with him, and he will learn more how to play with us.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. However, I'm kind of a bit more in the middle, in the sense that you can't ignore Gabriel Jesus' return and how sharp the guy looks. It's actually insane to come back from his injury 9 or 10 months out and to be as sharp. Really impressed. And I'm not necessarily or haven't been the biggest Gabriel Jesus lover. Like I do think, and we all know, he's like not your clinical striker, but he definitely gives you something different. And going to be a really important part to play for the rest of the season. So yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. I do hear that with Gyökeres, you kind of have to keep going with him. When you sign a number 9 for the money we spent on him, not saying it was ridiculous, but it was still a significant amount, you kind of want him to feel really involved and kind of the number 1. But I do think they're all going to come in and out. Like, you've now got...
I agree. Yeah.
Obviously, Gabriel Jesus and Gyökeres.
It's a nice...
Yeah, it's a great... I don't envy Mikel Arteta.
No, but that's what you want. That's what you need to be successful. You need people in every position challenging, their counterparts.
Yeah.
And with Havertz and also, they're 3 very different players with different stars, and they bring different things to the team.
Yeah.
And it may well be that there'll be much more horses for courses coming up over the next few weeks. So, and that's obviously for Arteta to decide which horse for which course.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think we will see coming into the second half of the season that he will play different number 9s in different competitions. I think we will see, and actually it's kind of a wider prediction for the whole team, that in the Champions League knockout stages, I think we will see a Champions League team and an adapted Premier League team. Kind of when City was successful in their treble winning season, that's kind of how they succeeded. I think from memory, like Grealish played Champions League, but wasn't necessarily always playing Premier League games. So yeah. If I am a betting man, I would predict that potentially that's something, if players are available, that Mikel will also replicate.
Yeah, quite possibly. And I mean, if you look at our bench today, our bench read like this: Kepa, Ben White, Gabriel Jesus, Eze, Martinelli, Norgard, Madueke, Havertz, and Lewis Skelly. And to think that obviously Declan Rice wasn't even in the squad because he was injured. You had Ethan Nwaneri, who wasn't picked for the squad. Like, when our squad is fit, there is an array of really, really top quality options. So again, another headache for Arteta, which I'm definitely not envious of for the second half of the season. And hopefully that squad does stay fit for the rest of the season, because if they do, then we have every single chance of really winning the big honours. And we all think that we are good enough to do that. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting conundrum, especially when it comes to the number 9. But we'll definitely touch on Jesus further on, because he did make quite a big contribution when he did come on. Just before half time, obviously, I think Onana made a pass through to Jadon Sancho. which sort of broke the line completely. Sancho sort of played the ball across into Watkins, who didn't manage to get the final touch on it because Saliba made such a great block. I think it was going to be offside, regardless of if they scored. But I think the point I'm trying to make is at half time, a minute later or something like that, Mikel Arteta had a big job to do at half time, because if the game had carried on in the way it started, then we could have been in serious trouble. So I don't know what was said at halftime, but it must have been very, very important and constructive and instructional, because they came out in the second half like a team possessed. And after 2 minutes of the second half, we managed to get a corner, and we all know what happens from corners when we get them, it seems, at the moment. Obviously, Saka stepped up on the right-hand side, swinging the ball in with his left foot, and we had the big Brazilian beast in the center of the box, who sort of made Emi Martinez look quite silly, and winning the header, and we go 1-0 up. What did you guys make? Cal, you can go first, of our first goal, and just having Gabby back in and around the team.
Gabby being back, I mean, we've all been wanting it the last few months, haven't we? Like, he might be our most important player this season, I think, or in previous seasons. Just the way he defends, the way he scores these goals. And I know we've talked about it before, especially when we're on that spree of scoring a lot of goals from corners. But in a game like that, where we're struggling in the first half to kind of break them down, to be able to just break the deadlock like that with a set piece goal opens up the whole game. And to have someone like Gabriel, I mean, if Gabriel was still injured, we might not even score that corner, and the rest of the game could be a different story, you know? So I'm so happy that he's back. And I mean, I thought it was a header when it first came in. It turns out it kind of just came off. I don't even know where it came off, but it ended up in the goal. I think Emi Martinez was poor. That was a clanger from him, to be honest. But yeah, that's his statement for being back, to be honest. And so happy to have another leader around the squad as well. I think that's another important thing. He's such a leader in this team as well, and that partnership with Saliba. I mean, I think it's the best in the league, so can't complain.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And to build on that, and I guess it's something that we do discuss, but the deliveries from these set pieces is unbelievable, and it's so consistent. And we all sit there and say, "Oh, it's so easy to kind of consistently, as a professional footballer, play the ball into a dangerous area." But like most teams, most players in the world can't do it as consistently as your Sakas and Rices are doing it. And it's unbelievable. I think between me and my friends, it doesn't get spoken enough about. And I just think it needs to be highlighted, because it's remarkable, really.
Yeah, I mean, even today, Trossard, who over the course of whenever Rice hasn't been playing or isn't on corner duty, which is obviously very rare, Trossard has taken a few, and they haven't been brilliant. But today his corners were very, very good, and it's massive. But having Gabby back is huge. We've struggled defensively, but we've conceded more goals, and I don't think we've kept any clean sheets since he's been out of the team. There may be one clean sheet, but we have leaked more goals since he's been out of the team, and you'd expect that. Him and Saliba are probably the two best central defenders in the world, and definitely the best central defensive partnership in the world. So you take one of those out, and especially central defensive partnerships, to me, are the most important positions on a football pitch. I think everything builds from there, especially the way we play, because a lot of they get a lot of touches of the ball as well, so there's a lot of passing going on. But just from a general organising, making sure that the line is correct for offsides, it's huge. And having Saliba and Gabby back is going to be massive.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess only a few minutes later, I think 51 minutes on the clock, we then sort of doubled our lead. I know that my dad and brother below, they'll sort of tell you guys more than most how much I rate Martin Odegaard, and I've spoken about it in depth on this podcast. I think he's just such a beautiful footballer to watch, and he can be a world-class player. We've seen it in seasons gone past, seasons gone by even. But obviously he's had the injuries, and Mikel Arteta actually spoke about it post-match. He was asked about Martin Odegaard's performance, and Odegaard he sort of said that he had the 2 shoulder injuries, and then after that he had the knee injury. So for Martin Odegaard, the most important thing for him is game time and consistency in terms of his minutes, and we are starting to see the best of him. Now, what I would say is, about 50 minutes on the clock, he tried an impossible pass, which I personally didn't think he should have tried. It was like a sort of a lofted ball, a curled one with his left foot, and it got intercepted. And then only a minute later, he sort of dispossessed one of the Aston Villa midfielders. I think it might have been Rodgers. That's not verbatim, but I think it was Rodgers. He sort of drove forward and played a beautifully weighted pass into Zubimendi, who sort of made the third man run, and it wasn't really something that we saw with Thomas Partey when he was playing in that number 6 position. But it seems like now with Zubimendi, we have 3 midfielders who are equally comfortable rotating into different areas. And beautiful finish, by the way. And yeah, we went 2-0 up. What did you think, Cal, of our second goal?
I mean, that's just Odegaard magic, isn't it? I mean, that's what we all love him for. Those through balls where no other player can really do them. Maybe like a KDB or someone like that, or Messi. Those players. That's the standard that he's at for those sort of balls. And I mean, Zubimendi, when that goal went in, I was like, who is that scoring? Because you often see Zubimendi up there, and then I saw it was him, and I was like, oh wow, like that's just a different element to our game that we have, and it's so good to see, as you mentioned, that I don't think a player like Partey would have done that sort of run. So it was a beautiful finish as well, by the way. All credit to Zubimendi. He was very calm with it as well. Kind of toe-poked it into the bottom right corner. I thought that was the perfect finish. So, yeah, I mean, and the thing about that second goal as well, that's so important for me. George, I know I've been saying this so much in recent weeks, but the second goal is always so important, because I'm sure you guys are the same as well. But I hate just any one goal leads, man, because they can just collapse. Like, just one goal from the other end, and it's a draw, and we're talking about a different game. So to get that goal, the second goal, and to get it so quickly as well was so important. I was so happy with that as well. And I think from there, our team really looked like they just kicked into sixth gear or whatever, and just super, super confident. So yeah, I was really happy with that, the whole passage of play, really.
Yeah, I think it was impressive to kind of score. Basically, I don't know how many minutes was it. I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 after scoring the first. And it's actually a common theme that we've seen over the last 2 years, that we get one, and a lot of the time we'll get another.
Yep.
And yeah, specifically looking at the goal itself, magic from Odegaard. The weight of the pass, the way he won the ball back was brilliant. And yeah, Zubi's finish was top tier to kind of lift that in quite a tight space. Was class. And yeah, great to kind of get goals from all around the pitch. I think it's super important when you're kind of challenging on all fronts to kind of not rely on 1 or 2 players. So yeah, great credits to him and for that second goal.
Yeah, I think Odegaard, to me, is a player that he needs rhythm. He needs rhythm to his game. And it's very, very difficult to get any rhythm in elite sport when you are constantly battling injuries. And whilst he didn't have a lot of injuries early on in his Arsenal career, over the last year, he has been dogged by quite a few. And so it's just been really, really hard for him to get any form of rhythm whatsoever. And I think we're starting to see now a little bit of rhythm. I mean, still, as George said, there were a couple of balls that we said today that, look, he is the player in the team that tries difficult balls. And some will come off and some won't. And I think as Arsenal fans, we've got to accept that. We don't want everyone in that midfield just playing simple balls all the time, because we're not going to get anywhere. So you need one or two players, preferably, to take the risk and play difficult balls. But I think when he's in a rhythm, more often than not, those balls come off. When he's not quite on it, they don't come off. And yeah, he gets quite a lot of criticism, which I think is undeserved.
Yeah, and then I guess after the second goal, we sort of just kept on taking the game to Villa, which was great to see. I mean, after, what was it, 60? I'm looking at my notes here, 65 minutes. We had another chance. I think Zubimendi managed to dispossess one of the Aston Villa midfielders. Ball sort of went to Marino, headed it down to Odegaard, and Odegaard sort of from outside the box tried to finesse the ball into the bottom left corner, but Emi Martinez managed to sort of get a fingertip round the post. That sort of was the theme for the next, 15, 20 minutes. It looked like we were, I guess, back in the 2023-2024 season, the second half, where we just were able to take the game away from the opposition teams, and we looked very, very good. Not sure what you guys, I guess, thought of that period of the game, but I thought we were extremely dominant.
Yeah, I thought we were dominant as well, but what Cal said a little earlier, in terms of loving the second goal, with this Arsenal team at the moment, especially the last few weeks, it to me, it's actually the third goal that's really important, because we have leaked goals at various times, especially late on in games. So to me, that third goal was the goal that made us comfortable, and we haven't said that for a few weeks. Obviously, the Tottenham game was the last game where we looked comfortable. There's been far too many games where we should have been comfortable, and because of the fact we conceded a sloppy goal, we haven't been comfortable. So to get that third goal was great, and I think it really was a very, very dominant second half performance, until again a sloppy moment very late in the game where we allowed them to score, and they had a chance before that, almost exactly the same type of chance, which somehow Raya saved. I don't know whether that was his great save or just a very, very poor finish, but hey ho, whichever way, it was great that they got a third and then obviously a fourth to make the game feel very comfortable, which is really important from a mental point of view.
100%. And not only that, sorry, Arch, I'll let you kick us off in a second, but obviously, even before that Odegaard chance, we had a corner taken by Trossard that sort of fell to the feet of Timber from about 0 yards out, and he managed to hit the ball over the bar. And that sort of just plays into exactly what you're saying there, where just the ability to kill off games, we've been really struggling of late. So that third goal came at such a good time, I thought, soon after that. And obviously, I think it came originally from an Odegaard cross. The ball sort of came to the edge of the box where Timber sort of flogged the ball onto Trossard, who, as he does, just with no backlift at all, managed to find the bottom corner. Great goal. Great goal. Arch, your thoughts?
Yeah, an insane finish. And we talk about your Gabriels and Rice's being super influential for this team, but Trossard is like well up there. You look at his goal contributions in 2025, they're, I think, the highest out of any Arsenal player, and actually since we've signed him, I think arguably one of Mikel Arteta's most important and best signings since joining the club. So yeah, an amazing finish, but he's delivering that type of consistency in front of goal nearly every week. And it's insane to think that you've got the likes of Eze and Martinelli on the bench and not getting many minutes in the Premier League. But at the moment, no one can argue because Tross week in, week out is delivering.
He really is Mr. Consistent, isn't he? I mean, I feel like me and George, especially, we talk about him every single week, whether it's a goal, an action, or assist that he's done. He's always doing something. And I know, Archie, you mentioned about Gabriel and Rice being our most important players, but this season, Trossard is putting his name up there. He could be on the Mount Rushmore by the end of the season if we go on to win the title. So, I mean, he probably is one of our best, if not our best finisher at the club. And I know George, you say he doesn't need much of a backlift. He seems to always just know where the goal is. He has a knack for it. And I mean, that finish was just brilliant. I think we should go on to the fourth goal as well, because I mean, it was a similar sort of goal. And I know George knows that I love Gabby Jesus, but I mean, what
we
a goal
all do, pal. We all do.
I was not sure where you guys stood on that, but I mean, what a goal that was to come off the bench. I mean, he's been out. I think it's been exactly a year. I think it was 364 days since his last Premier League goal, and for that to be his first goal, it's just incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah,
100%.
Firstly, for him, huge.
Yeah.
For him, I mean, you could see what it meant to him. I mean,
yeah.
He that shirt was coming off. He was taking the booking. He didn't care. It was, to go through what he's been through. That could have been a career-defining or ending injury years ago. That would have been a career-ending injury. So it's very, very difficult to come back from that. And as Archie said earlier, he's looked really, really sharp. And it adds a completely different dimension to the team. So, to do that with almost, I think it was his first touch of the ball, was fantastic. Fantastic.
It was
finish.
55 seconds after he came on as well. I mean, that's just instant.
Fantastic
right
finish.
There,
when in that sort of position, he's sort of very natural. Didn't really have much time to think about it, just instinctively hit it. And I think when he has more time to think, he sort of does those twists and turns and often gets blocked. That's when it can be slightly frustrating when he just instinctively hits the ball. There's not many that are as good as him.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that goal came again from, I think it was an Odegaard sort of flicked the ball over into Zubimendi, who then sort of drove and played the ball into Trossard. And again, Trossard with another goal contribution. I know we just spoke about him and how good and consistent he's been for us since he's joined. But I mean, the whole saga with Mikhail Mudryk, if that had gone a different way, like we're just not here speaking about Trossard in the way that we are, probably not speaking about Trossard at all. So he's been outstanding since he's joined. I do find him very frustrating. I'm not sure if any other Arsenal fans agree, but like he's similar to Odegaard in the fact he does try difficult things. I just prefer the way Odegaard tries them. I think it's more of a stylistic preference for me. Like he tries to the pass through the defender's legs almost every single game, and most of the time it doesn't sort of come off, but then it does come off, and we do score goals. And he himself is just so I guess instinctive in front of goal. He doesn't need backlift. He doesn't need to see the goal. He just knows where it is, and he's able to finish or find the feet of someone else who can finish very, very often. So fair play to him. And in terms of Jesus, yeah, I mean, my question marks on Jesus obviously come down mostly to fitness. In terms of his technical ability, he's up there with the very, very best. He's very, very natural footballer, Brazilian, obviously, and he has that Brazilian flair naturally. But I think with him, in terms of being a striker, and you guys sort of touched on it in terms of him not, him being instinctively good, but when he has to think about it, he's not as good. For me, it comes down more to the game state. And is he able to break deadlocks when it's 0-0 or when it's 1-0 and we really need him? Because he came on at 3-0. And to score a goal when the pressure is mostly off at 3-0 is a completely different scenario to scoring goals when they really, really matter. Obviously, for Jesus, the most important thing for him is that he's playing and he's able to get through the minutes and to do it at a high level and a high standard and give us something different, which he absolutely does. What I want to see in the second half of the season is him being the difference maker, because he has the ability to do it. And when the pressure's really on, can he really be that guy who, when he first joined for that first 6 months before the World Cup, really was that guy who was taking games away from other teams? And that's what I want to see from Jesus. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not.
I don't know if we will get to see if he is that guy. And the reason I say that is we're in a completely different state of our squad and the development from when he first joined to where we are now. And we touched on it earlier, but to be in a position, albeit if everyone's fit, that you have Jesus, Gyökeres, Havertz, arguably Marino can come in there. And that those four options, I'm not sure how much you'll see Gabriel Jesus being that main man. And maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't think it matters though. I think if he's able to kind of contribute, and similar to maybe Gabby Martinelli, it kind of appears that Jesus in space kind of later in the game is more effective. And if that's his role to play, that's great. I think that's why we have a squad. That's why we have developed over the last few years, and we're at a point where we kind of all believe that this is probably and hopefully will be our year, or we are in the best position and like squad mindset to get over the line. And yeah, you're not going to win anything with 11 players. So whether he's impacting it off the bench every week, I don't really care, as long as he's having an impact on every game. That works for me.
Yeah,
I think Jesus, he's in a very unique position. He's probably the only player in our squad where there's not really much pressure on him to perform, because anything from this point on is kind of a bonus. I mean, we were always expecting him to come back eventually, but we weren't too sure how he was going to come back, if he's going to be the same player. So I think anything is a bonus. I think he has the luxury to be able to just play with freedom and be himself, which I think he probably thrives on. You know, Brazilian flair, you know what those sort of players are like. And I think that suits him actually. Obviously, in the 22-23 season, there was no pressure on us winning the league. There were just a bunch of young lads trying to get just playing football. You know, I think that suits him a lot as well. And obviously you got Havertz and Gyökeres as well, and we're in 4 different competitions. So I think anything he does is just a bonus. And if you can get a goal like today, it's class.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Yeah, aligned with that one.
Yeah, me too. I think he's obviously a hugely talented player, and again, similar to Odegaard, when injury free, he has in the past, and hopefully will do again, contribute massively to this squad. And as you said, Cal, I don't think any Arsenal supporter really thought that he was going to come back at this stage and, you know, play as many minutes as he has done already, and be a major factor in this season. I think we hope that we might see him back at the latter end of the season, maybe, you know, sort of January, February. But he's come back earlier than expected. And as you say, I don't think there is that much pressure on him. But I do think he really can contribute, because he definitely brings something completely different to Gyökeres and Havertz. Yeah, his link play is fantastic. On saying that, I actually think Gyökeres is sometimes he's really frustrating, because sometimes the ball just bounces off him and, you know, terrible touch, or he doesn't get to the ball, he sort of waits for the ball. But often he does bully his way, somehow physically gets hold of the ball and lays passes on for others. So he does also link play well, and we know that Havertz likes to drop deep and link play. But Gabby does it in a completely different way to the rest. He brings an energy to that central position that I don't think either Gyökeres or Havertz do.
I think one other thing that we can't ignore is he's a Premier League winner. and he has the know-how. So to be or have a player like that within the squad, and at certain times be on the pitch.
Yeah, we sort of said that about him and Zinchenko in the 22-23 season, and it didn't quite go to plan. But yeah, you know, there aren't that many in the squad that have actually
won things.
Yeah, so it is important.
Especially because obviously when Jesus was winning at City, he wasn't the main man as well. So that role of being someone who isn't necessarily the number one striker, but does come in and contribute at important times is something that he's already done previously. So if he can just replicate that role, that would be brilliant. And he's already achieving more than, as we said, most Arsenal supporters would have expected, considering the injury that he had. Moving on from the fourth goal, in the last, 20 or so minutes, we looked far more passive in the way that we were defending. Everything was slower and reactive as opposed to proactive. And I know during games, you're not going to have 90 minutes of total domination necessarily. But it did seem far slower, and it did seem that we were defending far deeper. And I guess the ability that they have as a squad to really go and continue the onslaught is something that we haven't really seen this season necessarily, like we did in the 2023-24 season when we were winning 5, 6s, etc. How did you think that last period of the game went? I was very listen, the game was already won, so I wasn't necessarily nervous, but it's frustrating, not just because I have Raya and Hincapié on my fantasy team that I wanted a clean sheet, but it's also very frustrating for them, I'm sure, as a defensive unit. You know, they pride themselves on clean sheets, and they were 4-0 up and sort of cruising. And then it looked like after Donnell Marlin, ex-Arsenal player, came on, they looked sort of like a different team. They were camping outside our box, and they were doing sort of what we were doing to them for the 20 minutes previous. And yeah, if it wasn't for, in my opinion, a really, really good Raya save in the 91st minute, quite a poor miss for McGinn, but a great save nonetheless. Yeah, we just lost our momentum, and they sort of slowly got themselves back into a position where they could even have chances on goal.
Yeah, I think Arteta did what we want him to do, to make changes and make changes to key personnel. One of them was sort of forced, which was probably the most important defensively. I don't know what. I think maybe it was just cramp and the fact he hasn't played for 90 minutes for many weeks. But when Big Gabby went off, we didn't look the same, which is what we said earlier. That we're not going to look the same when Gabriel and or Saliba aren't playing. It's as simple as that. On saying that, I just think that we started playing and the fans sort of started the olays, and I think when the fans do that, it's funny to a certain degree, but I think the players feel it, and they know that the game's won, and they're probably relaxing a little bit more than they probably should be to see the game out without conceding, to keep a clean sheet. And I think that sort of just played into Villa's hands, and they just wanted to get something from the game, and we allowed them to do it. Which, as you say, was frustrating, having shared the sofa with you when that goal went in. Your reaction to your fantasy team was amusing.
Please don't repeat some of the language that I was using. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think naturally when Big Gabby comes out, but also Timber comes off,
Saka
as well. The game's won. The intensity of the game is reduced, and that's the way the game ended. Is just like a knock-on effect on those things. I'm not too concerned about it. I do think we need to kind of be aware that we are conceding a lot of late goals. Obviously today, it didn't really matter. But I do think naturally once Big Gabby is back and is kind of fully match fit and is able to play 90 minutes and Timber's also back in the line and will play 90 minutes, and you're not really changing your back five. We will see more comfortable ends to two games. So yeah, from my side, nothing really to worry about. Just similar to G. My draft lost about 12 points. So a bit frustrated.
I wasn't too fully upset, to be honest, because I actually do have Watkins in my team, so at least there's something there for that. But seems like we just gave him a birthday gift. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it was Ollie Watkins' birthday today as well. So I guess we just gave him a gift, But I don't think it's too much cause for concern. I do agree. We have been conceding like silly goals late in the game that can cost us, like the Crystal Palace goal. Sorry, Mark Guehi. I mean, that could have cost us. We could have lost some Panzers 50-50, as we said before.
And the Wolves game.
Yeah, and the Wolves game.
And
we're
lucky. And the Aston Villa game.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. We're conceding a lot of silly late goals.
It's already cost us points, and could have cost us other points, and the Carabao Cup semi-final as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was just lucky that it didn't impact us today because we scored all those goals. But that's 3 points on the board. That's the most important thing at the end of the day. And that takes us 5 points clear of Manchester City. Obviously, they play on Friday. I'm forgetting who they're playing against. Is it?
They're playing Sunderland away.
Yeah, so obviously we drew that game. Another silly goal that we conceded in that game as well. So hoping for a Sunderland Granit Xhaka masterclass. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, I'm definitely keen for it. Obviously, Bournemouth up next. We'll talk about that at a later date. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the final whistle go, and obviously 3 points. That's the most important thing. But the first thing that happened, and I'm not sure that if you've actually seen this, I'm sure Archie, you've seen on social media, is that Unai Emery didn't shake hands with Arteta. He sort of just went straight down the tunnel. So that's, I guess, quite controversial. Followed up by Onana in the reverse fixture sort of made a gesture of having someone in his pocket. So when the cameras were running and the Arsenal players were going back in the changing room, Gabriel did exactly the same gesture, I guess just out of spite. The third thing that happened was Emi Martinez, as he's going in the tunnel, looked completely rattled by one of the fans. And that one, I think, I gives me the most joy out of the three. I'm not sure where you guys would rank that in.
He can give it, but he can give it, can't he? But he just can't take it.
Yeah, it's all well and good when he's wasting countless minutes during the game. After he's lost the game, he then can't take the banter. But I thought that was particularly amusing from my side.
Yeah, it was. As obviously there is, or we built up some sort of rivalry between, which has never really been the case in the past between us and Villa. I don't know if it's the Emery effect or if it's the Martinez effect. I don't know. But there obviously is not a lot of love lost between the two camps. And look, after what happened a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago in the reverse fixture, it was really important to get that win today. And I think Villa probably felt that for them to get something out of the game was huge. If they could have got obviously 3 points, but even if they'd just got a draw, so to not just not get anything, but to actually be pretty much humiliated in such a important game, obviously riled them, and I think that's probably why you saw the reactions that you saw from Emery and Martinez.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, seems like Emery has had Arteta's number in terms of the fixtures, even going back to when Unai Emery was the manager of Villarreal. So, yeah, I don't actually know what that record is off the top of my head, but I think in the last 5, we've only been victorious in 2. And that was the third out of 6. So yeah, no, obviously Unai Emery is a really, really good coach, and he's getting the best out of those Villa players. And their record prior to this morning was incredible.
Phenomenal.
I think they're unbeaten in their last 18 games, which is absolutely outrageous for
With
a
11 wins on the spin, which is in the Premier League. Yeah, it's
Good going.
it's phenomenal. You just need to ask that guy with the hair at the Man United supporter who's trying to get 5 wins on the trot. So yeah, to win 11 on the spin is massive. And
especially considering who they're played against. You know, they've beaten City, they've beaten Liverpool,
Yeah.
they've
Us,
got obviously beaten
Chelsea
us,
away.
they've beaten Chelsea away, so they've had some
Yeah.
really, really good results. So
Yeah.
in the context of their season so far, us getting the 3 points at home in such a big game is massive, especially without Declan Rice. You know, it's not an easy feat. They've been, even at the Emirates, they've been able to beat us on quite a few occasions. Especially, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but I have unfortunately horrible memories of towards the end of the 2023-24 season when Watkins sort of was running away from, I think it was Smith Rowe, who managed to tuck it away, and they came away from the Emirates with 3 points, and that sort of sunk our title hopes, which is something that hopefully will not happen this year. But yeah, amazing result. Really, really good performance. And we wait and see if Big Granite can produce something special at the Stadium of Light. I know it gets pretty rowdy up in the north of England, and hopefully they can take some points of City before City go and land Antoine Semenyo, which makes me think that for the Bournemouth game, I know I'm sure myself and Cal will talk about it in more detail closer to the day. I reckon that they'll have an agreement with Bournemouth to let Semenyo play in that game just before he makes the move. I'm not sure what you guys think about that.
I mean, it would be pretty smart, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I actually didn't think about that. So you've just said it, and yeah, if a fine pet, that is part of the agreement. I'm not signing those documents till he's paid us. But let's see.
Whatever will be, will be. We can't worry about what City are doing. Obviously, we hope whenever you're in a title race, you hope that other teams take points off your main rivals for the title. But you've just got to look after get your own house in order. And yeah, we've beaten Villa in what was a hugely important game under the circumstances. But you know, in years past, we've sort of dropped points against the not so fashionable or not the best teams in the league. So we just need to literally every game is a cup final. Just got to keep going, same intensity, and take our chances. Because when we take our chances and we win games like this, it makes life a lot easier for all concerned.
And all our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly right. And I just hope that this new year we just keep winning, keep building this momentum. It's the most important thing. I mean, we saw Aston Villa. I mean, they're not a team known for going on big winning streaks, and they've done it. So don't see why we can't do it as well. We need to do it, especially with how ruthless the Premier League can be. Obviously, George, you mentioned that 16 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, and we still ended up not winning that title. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think that's probably all we've got time for. Talk about everything there. Huge win, 5 points clear. Maybe until Man City play, we'll see how that goes. But I just want to thank you guys so much for being our first guest on the podcast. You guys were great. A lot of ball knowledge, obviously. So that's great. So
enjoyed it.
Yeah. Happy New Year as well. Bring on the new year.
Healthy and happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you guys.
And
too.
to everyone, to all the listeners.
Yes, of course. But yeah, that's all we have time for. Thank you, George, as well, of course. And yeah, have a good day, Gooners.
Take care.
Bye-bye.